All right, guys, we are live.
Oh, already?
And I am
You
just
didn't even give me a heads up.
I am just
What?
going
That should be
to
like illegal or something.
I am just going to make sure that we are live on YouTube as well. Just going to check that real quick.
Okay. And we love it when you guys comment below. We welcome all of your questions. At the end, we're going to have a Q&A of questions that we've received in the past. And so...
Mom, why don't you post that we're
Chime in.
live here on Instagram?
Just a sec.
Thank you. Thank you. We're
I
live.
don't know how to do that.
That's a great time to learn, but probably not
Really?
live.
While
right
we're
now.
live? I don't know. It feels a
No,
little
but
awkward to like look at my phone while we're like here with our audience wanting to be present. So should we like pause the live while we do
Can't
that?
pause the live. So
All
we're just
right.
gonna jump right into it. Welcome, you guys. Welcome back if you're new here. Welcome if you're new here. We are self-producing, so give us some grace, would ya? So today we're gonna be diving into all things Ozempic lizards. You can put that. We're good.
Ozempic lizards?
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
curious.
that's definitely not the whole picture, but it's part of the picture.
We're also going to be talking about the new mandates by Kennedy for combating obesity.
And first, we're gonna dive into Lizzo because
Wait, hold
she's
on.
doing
We're
it
also going to talk
every other
about
day.
Jay Bhattacharya, the new director of the NIH, and some of the things that were said in his hearing. So we got some cool stuff to talk with you. There's so much more we wanted to talk about with you that we don't have because we just only have so much time. Again, please comment below. We'd love to hear your insights, your feedback, your questions, because we are going to take some time at the end to answer your questions.
All right, let's get into it. So her there compared to this photo is crazy. She looks amazing. Like they used a really bad photo here, but for those of you guys who don't know, Lizzo used to actually like be really body positive and really overweight and like never do anything about it. And now she's losing weight naturally, which is amazing. We're all about natural weight loss.
We believe in natural weight loss. Penelope was 320 pounds not that long ago, and she's lost over 160 pounds with no loose skin. She and I are mother-daughter, in case you didn't know, and we believe in natural weight loss. The dangers of taking Ozempic, I read a statistic the other day that said over 1 million, almost like 1.3 or 1.6 million people are on, don't quote me on that because I don't have it memorized, are on Ozempic in the United States of America.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot of people, especially for a drug or a category of drugs, Zepbound, Wegovy, and Ozempic, and all the knockoffs, that hasn't really been fully approved by the FDA. That's proven safe and effective for weight loss. We do know that it's safe and effective for diabetes type 2, which is a great thing, but we don't really know the long-term implications of this. And so we are always promoting the power of natural healing, your body's ability to heal itself from the inside out and to reverse chronic disease, including obesity.
The next clip is...
We're going to look at what Jay Bhattacharya said in the NIH hearing when the Senate was approving him. Because, just because Trump appointed him as the director of the NIH doesn't mean he automatically gets the position. In our country, we have to vote on it, right? So he had to stand before the senators and answer all of their burning questions. And this is something he said towards the end of his hearing before he was nominated.
NIH's function. The goal of the NIH is to make Americans healthy. Is to have the research that makes Americans healthy. I think I want to make sure that we allow a broadest set of ideas as possible to address this problem, because the set of ideas we've had so far have not actually addressed the problem. It's continued to get worse. Fundamentally, to me, and this is an element of faith, I guess. I believe that if we allow science to have lots of different ideas, that we will be able to meet the health needs of the American people. But if we say, okay, only if
Hey guys, we're back, and that was the clip. Okay, what do we have to say about the clip?
You're so cute. I find it fascinating that somebody as skilled and who knows so much about the research says that they don't know how to reverse obesity at that level, right? You're talking about the highest level of medical expertise, experimental thinking, out of the box, like, like ridiculous amounts of funding. I mean, organization like NIH only exists in the United States of America, and they don't know how to cure obesity. We know how to cure obesity, Penelope. You and I know how to cure obesity. We have a lady in our group who is breaking through 200 as we speak. She's lost 80 pounds. I mean, it is actually embarrassingly simple. And if you're out there and you're struggling, you might want to smack me in the face right now, and I don't blame you. Because if anyone understands the complexity of weight loss, it's us. We understand this is an emotional battle. We understand it's a battle at a soul level. We understand that your biology, your body might be fighting against you. We understand that your mind is fighting against you. And we understand more than anything that the food industry and the ultra-processed foods all around you are what's fighting you. Now, I think that Jay Bhattacharya and Kennedy both have some ideas about what might be causing this problem. Certainly, ultra-processed food being eradicated from schools is a great thing. People having to rethink the ingredients that they're using in ultra-processed food, that's a great thing, and that is happening. As we speak, it's happening. Like, things are changing. It is so exciting. It's almost like this towel is getting wrung out, and all the like gook and stuff is going to fall off.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I'm obese and I'm overweight and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to help myself, we have some really amazing tools, tips, and tricks on how Mom and I lost over 250 pounds combined with no loose skin. So please check out all of our resources. They're in the link in the description.
Well, we believe also in something really simple, which is an exciting time to think about it, which is right now it's springtime. And Whole Foods from their source is, if we could give you one thing to take away with you, it's Whole Foods. Now, how do you make those Whole Foods taste delicious?
That is in our cooking course.
And how do you deal with the emotional upset when you're not stuffing your feelings out anymore?
Also in our cooking course.
So the solution, my friends, is accountability. That means like having someone caring and loving, holding you accountable, who's a stand for your greatness, and education.
All right, Mom, let's look at the next
Teaching
clip.
you about like what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. These are the two components that I think are missing from a medical model that I just can't even believe that they don't know how to reverse obesity. Like, to me, it's like, of course, it's so obvious. And Ozempic, my friends, is also not the answer. At least not long term.
So this is super interesting. So we've actually reacted to this clip. So there's a reason I brought this up. So this was in the Daily Mail 3 days ago. Woman reveals most incredible Ozempic transformation ever. Now, I'm not going to discredit that she did lose a lot of weight, but I am going to be honest when I say that she lost the weight with Ozempic. She was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she went
I
viral
remember
after that, and viral even then. And so you can see that on. And so.
Well, no, I'm trying to find I don't think we're actually live. I don't actually think we're live.
Are, but we are. So I see it right here. Boom. And so.
Yeah, she's like the star. She's like the Ozempic star that
Ozempic.
Oprah made her the star.
For sure. But it's a little corrupt about the way that things have been going on between them.
Why?
So here, I'm going to show you something. So she shows everyone she's doing Ozempic, and she really like encourages people who need to lose weight to do Ozempic, like if they've tried everything else.
This is to do Ozempic, like you do drugs. You
Yeah,
know, like you do cocaine.
No, literally,
like,
yeah.
You don't take cocaine, like you take Advil. Do you know what I mean? It's like interesting the way the language you're using.
I know. Well, because that's how I see it. So look.
I know.
So we reacted to her clip, and she actually responded. So I wanted to show you guys because this person in the news we've actually communicated with.
Yeah.
Mom made such a good point there. She was like, does it really make sense to keep taking the drug after you've gotten your goal weight? Like, even then it's crazy, but even now it's even crazier. I just thought your response was so funny there.
Thanks, Penelope.
Yeah. So anyway, so I thought what was really interesting is when we made this video, she actually commented on the video. Hi there, so lots of misinformation here. GLP-1s are not only for diabetes. As a diabetic myself, I do not need this medication more than someone taking it to prevent diabetes. It helps my PCOS, BED, disease of obesity. Disease of obesity?
How could she?
IBS.
How could it help her IBS?
How does it help your IBS?
And it causes it like causes paralysis of your stomach. And slow digestion is something we always want to, address when we're dealing with health and vitality.
And then she says, I work to reduce extreme shaming around weight struggles and GLP-1. The fear mongering is wild. So I do, in fact, share my weekly injections for this reasons.
I mean, it's pretty vulnerable to do that. It is. It's become also her identity, which is not a bad thing.
Shouldn't it? No. Drugs should not become our identity, don't you think?
I don't think it should be.
We're like more than a drug. I feel like, someone who's lost 160 pounds now with no loose skin, I feel that it's really important that we promote nature and how healing it can be, because all humans, I think I'd say most humans have lost their connection to nature.
We've forgotten that our bodies are designed to heal themselves.
And school doesn't teach us all that stuff.
School doesn't. Parents are usually too busy. Home economics is now considered sexist. So I believe it happens around the table. It happens in our kitchens. It happens in our local farmers markets, if you have access to that. And if you don't, your grocery stores. It's certainly not going to be through DoorDash and ultra-processed food and fast food. That stuff is poison. And there's enough research now that show if you eat that food, you are going to cause a lot of problems for your health. You're going to cause obesity. You're going to cause diabetes. You're going to cause cardiovascular disease. You're going to cause a lot of toxicity. You're going to cause brain fog, potentially Alzheimer's disease, now also known as diabetes type 3. I mean, we just look in the last 100 years. Like, we've never been sicker. We've never been fatter and more infertile than we are right now. And it is really time to do something. I mean, I fear a little bit. I don't like to use that language, but I mean, 4 years is like a drop in the bucket for what we've done to our American culture and society, and unfortunately we set a precedent for the world.
And young girls now are taking Ozempic who don't even need Ozempic. We have children taking Ozempic instead of working out and eating whole foods, and it's like, hello, we have to get back to nature, whole foods, happiness. That's what it is. It's nature. It's in your body. It's for free, literally outside. You can go take a walk, go get some sun. You don't need Ozempic. Ozempic isn't the answer.
This was the other surprising thing that I learned recently. You can take Ozempic, right? And your insurance company now is offering to cover it, some insurance companies. So we're talking $1,200, $1,400 a month, which is a lot of money. Think of all the things you could do with that money, with food counseling, with a health coach, with a personal trainer. You could really pour that money into things that are going to make you strong and vital for a long time, like long-term thinking. Yeah. But this is the kicker. Your insurance company will pay for that, but they'll only pay $25 of whatever the total cost is for a nutritionist for 3 sessions a year. That's the average, if you even have insurance. But do you see how that's out of balance? That the whole mindset around lifestyle medicine is just topsy-turvy, upside down, inside out. It isn't making any sense. Like, if you want people to get healthy, after 30 years of being on the front lines of getting people healthy and reversing chronic disease, it's about education and accountability. And those systems need to go into the insurance companies, into private practice, into schools, into hospitals, if we really want to turn this ship around.
I agree with you. So next we're going into this. This is really interesting. Mom, you went to the acupuncturist recently, and the acupuncturist told you...
So this is a very famous acupuncturist, been an acupuncturist for 50 years, gets funded regularly by universities to do research on very important topics. And so I said, okay, what do you think is the problem with taking these GLP-1 agonist classification of drugs? And he said, you're not going to believe this. They compromise your endocrine system forever.
Why?
That's scary. Like, you take birth control, you're taking hormones, and you're going to need some balancing when you get off, right? You're doing your IVF. You're really messing with your hormones, right? You got a thyroid issue. Your hormones are messed up, right? There's so many things that we know, like, you don't want to mess with your hormones. But come to find out, when you take this drug, it's messing with your hormones. But another thing he said they're taking poison from, no, sorry, not poison. They're taking the hormone from lizards.
So
from dragons, he said.
So it's interesting. So I saw this on X, and X is an interesting source to find things on. I found a lot of real things that people said weren't real, and then later I was like, hey, this is pretty real. So it contains a poisonous, so more on Ozempic. So Ozempic, he's saying, contains a lizard peptide, Gila monster, which is NA's only poisonous lizard, and it works by paralyzing the vagus nerve, the longest, most important nerve in the body. I didn't even know that.
Okay, folks, one thing's for sure, you don't want to paralyze any nerve, and especially not the vagus nerve. By doing that, you are causing a cascade of problems for your life.
And then listen to this. Ozempic and Wegovy weight loss drugs are injectable lizard venom peptides that may unleash a devastating wave of organ failure. Side effects align with the symptoms of snake bites.
Hold on, have you guys ever heard of that saying, they're like the snake oil salesman?
No.
Oh, there's this saying. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. When you have snake oil and you sell it, they say sell snake oil. It's the way it's something that is an old saying, Penelope, for somebody who's trying to get one over on you.
Oh.
By selling snake oil, but really it's not snake oil. It's like a bait and switch. But here it actually is.
So it says, according to a Newsweek poll published in May 2024, there are now 15.5 million Americans who have used or are using this. Now, this is like kind of an older article.
But I thought it was a lot less. Didn't I just a few minutes ago say it was 1.3 or 6 million?
Yeah, but this is only May 2024.
Yeah, but that means there's got to be a lot more than what I quoted.
Search it right now. You can.
No,
see.
I mean I'm gonna. If I don't know something and I get it wrong, I'm gonna admit it.
That actually consists of synthesized peptides originally patterned with Gila monster reptiles. See, we wouldn't have Ozempic without Gila monsters. They're hunger-regulating venom-inspired weight loss drugs.
Okay, that's from Business Insider. Oh my gosh.
Gila monsters has a compound that regulates hunger.
It's similar to the hormone people produce that we produce in our intestines, but the lizard version is longer lasting and longer acting. The find led to the development of a new class of obesity and diabetes drugs, including Ozempic. Whoa!
The drugs achieve their weight loss results by paralyzing the vagus nerve, which no one's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that.
If this is true, you guys, like we have some major issues. Listen to this. The vagus nerve regulates your digestion, appetite, satiation. It controls the food movement through the digestive system. This is so critical for, by the way, like not dying of starvation. The heart rate and blood pressure manages heart rate and blood pressure, key in parasympathetic stress response. Okay, hold on. Stress response. This is like the biggest issue we have in our culture today is our poor stress response and our adrenal fatigue. It controls breathing regulation. Are people going to suffocate to death because they can't breathe properly because their vagus nerve is paralyzed? It coordinates swallowing and speech functions. That sounds like ALS.
It regulates your immune response and inflammation.
And it controls gut motility and secretion. Now, this was the biggest concern for the gastroenterologist, Dr. Hazen, who's going to be on soon again. If you haven't seen that interview, definitely check it out and comment below. We love to hear from you. At the end, we're going to answer some Q&As. We have some that came from our last live that we're going to answer anyway, but we love your feedback, your insights, and all things in the chat. So definitely chat below. What do you think about the vagus nerve being paralyzed as a result of people injecting themselves willingly with an experimental drug that's not been proven safe or effective that comes from the Gila monster lizard?
Okay, listen to this. So the symptoms of vagus nerve dysfunction, digestive issues. But wait, aren't people saying that Ozempic doesn't harm your digestion?
Oh, but wait, they always feel nauseous and they feel like they're going to vomit. And they've got acid reflux. They also
cardiovascular. Oh wait, I just had a doctor on who said that it was good for heart disease.
But it also causes hypotension, dizziness, and fainting. I mean, also, if you starve yourself, you're going to feel like you're going to faint.
Oh, cardiovascular effects? Tachycardia?
Yeah, rapid heart rate. And
static hypotension? I've never even heard of that before.
It even causes neurological and physical symptoms, including difficulty swallowing, loss of gag reflux. I don't think you want your gag reflux being lost. And of course, fatigue is a big issue, especially when you're starving yourself.
And then we have the common ones that you probably already heard: pancreatitis, thyroid tumors, gallbladder problems, kidney failure, increased heart rate, mental health risks. Oh, and then nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, dizziness, fatigue, low blood sugar, and vision changes. People are going blind from Ozempic.
Well, I'm certainly glad that we have some sound research that's being conducted to look at other ways as a front line of defense other than a injection in this classification of drugs. In fact, I think their stock fell today by 5.5%.
Oh, I saw that.
Because there's actually a new drug that's even more effective with a whole new class of hormone that's mimicking another hormone. You know, like you don't want to mess with your hormones, folks. If there's one thing Western medicine hasn't figured out very well is how to manage your hormones. Guess what they do? They give you bioidentical hormones. They give you more hormones to try to control your hormones instead of like trying to work with your system holistically to have have it repair itself.
And Mom, guess what? They also have no idea what this drug is going to do to you in a bunch of years. They have no idea. In 15 years, they have no idea how it's going to affect you. Because how could they know? How could they know how something's going to affect a human, a child, a kid, an infant? How are they going to know? No, seriously. How are they going to know how it affects our future children, the pregnant moms? How are we going to know that?
I can think of at least a half a dozen people in my like close circle who are on these medications right now. So if you're listening, we love you. We do. We really love you. And we also want you to get off the medication as soon as you feel like you can, like you have the courage to like face what's really going on underneath the surface, since you've gained some momentum. And now just start thinking about your pathway towards balance and natural living, because you know that you love being thinner, and you know that you love losing the weight, and it felt so easy, but you also are fearful about getting off the medication.
And you know what I heard today? Doctors can be wrong. Doctors don't know everything, because guess what? They were only trained in one area. So to say that the experts know better than us is actually not true. Like Casey Means says, like, we're all our own doctor. Like, we truly are. Like, we're doing this research. You guys probably didn't know that a Gila monster inspired Ozempic and that it's having all these negative side effects similar to the snake bite. You guys probably didn't even know that. Why? Because no one's talking about it. Why? Because your doctor isn't going to be like, oh, yeah, by the way, Ozempic was inspired by a Gila monster. Like, you know, like, no one's talking about it.
Do your own research. And Penelope, there are people who know a lot more than we do about different things.
I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but I'm saying
everyone...
Doctors don't know everything.
They don't know everything.
They can't know everything.
So you
we
do.
can't know everything.
Yeah.
You do your own research and don't just be like, oh, well, my doctor said this. I'm not going to look at anything else. Like, no. Be your own doctor, too, and look into things.
Yeah, be willing to also be disagreed with, you know, and I think that's something that even though if you're on weight loss medication, it's just important to get real about how it's making you feel, how nourished you really feel, how connected you feel to yourself and your environment, and what you look at for your future. I think one of the problems I see, since we lived in Europe for so many years, is that we don't really think very well long-term in the United States of America. We're not really great long-term thinking. It's like we think in 4-year increments, because that's how our political cycle goes. Just look how fast everything's changing just with this political change. And it's really important that we think about long-term health when we think about our lives.
Yeah.
You know, we buy, how much money do we spend on insurance every year? Health insurance is over $10,000 a year for like young, healthy people, which is insane. But the bottom line is that they're thinking about it. And that's why we're paying that money, you know, towards that. So your insurance policy is what you're doing today. It's cumulative. How you're breathing, how you're thinking, how you're sleeping, how you're exercising, and how you're eating.
Speaking of the administration, let's talk about RFK's 23 new propositions that he is going to do to fight obesity.
Yeah, MSN came out with this today. There were actually 23 points. Some of them were kind of like, well, he could do this. And some of them were actually things he's doing. So we thought we'd highlight a few of them because that would take too much time, because we know you only have so much time as well.
So, I love this one. Banning ultra foods from school lunches. That's a great one.
Ultra processed food and school lunches is really where I got blindsided with Penelope, because she had healthy food at home. I mean, how did she put on all this weight? It was totally... I really was in denial. And I know there are a lot of moms out there who are like, oh my gosh, my kid is really fat and I don't know what to do about it. And the doctor's telling me to shut up because I'm the problem. Well, guess what, folks? Get that ultra processed food out of your kid's school. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm being crazy about it, but honestly, like you didn't have any of that stuff, Penelope, until you went to school.
But I also went to like other stores too.
It made you into an addict. That and the phones, of course. But I would really want to encourage all you moms out there and dads to get involved and like figure out what's in your school cafeteria and to fight the worthy fight to get it out of your schools.
He wants to limit the use of food stamps, to exclude processed goods.
Because did you know that like mostly food stamps are only providing you with like Coca-Cola and Lunchables? Yeah.
It's funny because I only see people with food stamps going to places that sell bad stuff.
Now, we've had a few phone calls with women who wanted to join our program who were on food stamps, and we were asking them what they ate. And, you know, when we were talking about like eating cauliflower versus potato chips, they were like, oh, we can't
But they could afford cabbage. I remember that phone call, and she could afford cabbage.
Right.
So another thing he wants to do is reform farming subsidies to make healthier food more affordable.
It's true. This is an issue, and we do hear about this a lot. Like if we want to swap out something for some, a cauliflower for the potato chips, you got to make the potato chips more expensive. And they do that in the Norwegian countries. They do that in Canada.
Oh, funny, because I'm pretty sure the place that Novo Nordisk, the country
Oh,
that
and
it originates in, they do not give Ozempic to their citizens. They don't recommend it. I know doctors who work for Ozempic, they don't take it even though they're overweight.
That was so crazy. Her ski instructor's wife is like
obese and not taking Ozempic.
She's like, taking this from me. What are you doing?
Okay. I love this one, Mom. Eliminating harmful food additives and artificial dyes and reducing the use of high fructose corn syrup and seed oils.
This
That's
is big.
That's save so many people's lives.
This is
just
really
that
big.
alone.
I mean, I mean, the companies must be shaking in their boots because, man, this, when I see this as a food manufacturer, this is like really expensive if you want to use other stuff. It's really expensive. But did you know that these harmful food additives and artificial dyes are causing all kinds of problems, including this influx of, and ADHD, and many of these things are passing through the blood-brain barrier, and it's putting moms, young moms at risk. Like, why is my baby, so messed up and so toxic? And it's because a lot of these harmful food additives are getting into the tissues of the baby. They're passing through what's called the blood-brain barrier.
The next thing he wants to do is promote nutrition education and better dietary habits and encourage sustainable agricultural practices. And those two things are really important, especially in schools.
Well, that's what we do. We are actually educating people about proper nutrition and better dietary habits and how to make it delicious and fun and exciting and inspiring. And agricultural practices, we've talked to a lot of farmers recently who've talked to us about all of the limitations and struggles that they're facing. And so that's a really important thing. That's really nuanced, and that's a really big topic, especially when we get into regenerative agriculture.
I love this one because we were just in North Carolina, and he's going to
limit
pharmaceutical advertising. And Mom's like, it should be illegal to advertise drugs, right?
Yeah, no, I look at Penelope because
like,
I hadn't every commercial.
Yeah, Mom, you're right. It should be illegal.
It's like they own the networks because all the advertising is from pharmaceutical companies. I'm like, this is so weird.
So Mom and I were making a video at the grocery store with our friend, and we were like showing all the junk food, and I was like, Mom, every time she picks a piece of junk food, we should go, and we should be like the pharmaceutical ads and be like, do not eat, may cause cancer, and all these things.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need those types of ads.
Well, yeah, we need ads that are going to glorify health, not gluttony. We need to entertain Americans about how exciting and wonderful and sexy it is to be healthy. We need to tantalize you with farm-to-table food. We need to remind you of the power in phytonutrients and fruits and vegetables and fiber. Like, we need to make it sexy and fun and inspiring. So if you want to do that, definitely hit us up because we are on board.
So, Mom, what does this mean? Promote the use of nutraceuticals?
Yeah.
What is that?
So that means if you have a beet chew that can help with nitric oxide to help reverse, cardiovascular disease, or basically food-derived products with health benefits. So, for example, berberine, let's just use that as an example. That's something they use to replace metformin, right? So that might be covered by insurance companies, right? Because it's a food-derived product that helps to reverse a chronic disease.
So promoting green tea instead of Ozempic, I can get down with that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of part of the picture, but yeah, something like that. It's a food-derived product. So nutraceuticals are basically extracted phytonutrients that will heal the human body that have been proven by science. There's even a whole at University of Oregon. There's a chemo prevention department through micronutrients and phytonutrients. It's chemo. Can you imagine that? The NIH funded that whole department for years. I don't know if they still are, but that's fascinating, right?
I love we know that it works. Educating the public on health impacts of ultra-processed foods rather than implementing outright bans.
I mean, pinch me. Would you just pinch me already?
I just can't believe,
oh my gosh.
Wait, hold on. I just can't believe that free speech, that's literally free speech. I can't believe that that's something that we have to add. That should have been there the whole time,
Yeah, but we need this because unfortunately, since doctors didn't learn about nutrition in school, they aren't correlating the reality that what we eat impacts our skin, impacts our health, impacts our chronic disease. So some doctors do. But I think the general population is completely disconnected from the idea that, when they're eating ultra-processed foods, like our beautiful, wonderful friend who just came to visit, and she just didn't realize that it was hijacking her system and causing her chronic pain, and it was causing her brain fog, and it was causing her weight gain. And it's just like they know it to a certain degree, but then there was this aha moment when she finally felt free after day 3. She went through the aches and the pains and the sweaty nights. I don't know if she had sweaty nights, but you know what I mean. She went through like a threshold of like, ay. And then she was through the other side, and she was like, oh, I don't have pain anymore. Thank you, Penelope.
So that is going to be it for today for our news. But we
Really?
did have one question that I wanted to answer.
Oh, we have so many.
Our most frequently asked question.
What do you eat for breakfast?
What do we think about intermittent fasting? We get that question all the time. Does it help with loose skin? Has it helped us with loose skin? What do we think about it? Is it a good weight loss tool? How many hours? Guess what, guys? Mom and I do it by accident. We're not like weird about it. We just do it by accident.
I think the answer is it good or the answer, because the question is it good or bad? And the answer is yes. That's the answer. And I'll unpack it. Should we unpack it a little bit?
Let's unpack it a little bit.
She's saying that because she knows I could go on about this for an hour.
Well, let me just start off by saying on my journey to losing 160 pounds without loose skin, intermittent fasting was a part of that, but not like on purpose intermittent fasting. The kind of intermittent fasting where you wake up early, you work out, you eat at a reasonable hour, 8 or 9 a.m., and then you stop eating around 6 p.m. And that's like intermittent fasting for you, but like not like weird strict and stuff. So now you can get into your little science.
We encourage you to comment below about whether or not you're intermittent fasting and what experiences you've had. And I know a ton of clients, friends, colleagues, and people in general who do all different kinds of fasting. They do 12 hours of fasting, 16, 20. There's all kinds of different ways of doing it. And I myself fasted for years, and I have frankly got myself into some trouble doing it. I ended up developing pre-diabetes, and I had no idea that it was correlated to the amount of fasting that I was doing until a very good colleague and skilled colleague of mine brought it to my attention. So oftentimes when you are obese or you're even a health enthusiast, you have an all or nothing kind of attitude, and you function most comfortably in extremes. That means like all in or all out. That means you're either on a diet or you're just going for it, like binge, purge, right? So if you know that you have this tendency, intermittent fasting might actually be harmful for you. It might be detrimental for your mental well-being and your physical well-being. And so we want to just make you aware that we believe that it is a great thing, and the research will back that up. But if you do it excessively, it can be dangerous. And if you don't really know what you're doing, it can also be dangerous. You really want to be sure that when you are eating in your windows of eating, that you're eating really high nutrient dense food, so extremely dense nutrients. And that means like eating fresh, in-season, ripe, organic produce during your windows. And you want to be sure that you're getting adequate fat and protein and things like that, and that you're really not stuffing yourself with ultra-processed food and empty calories from white bread and white flour and, bad fats and things like that, bad salts. So I do know that we have a lot of friends and colleagues, including ourselves, that intermittent fast, we do about 16 hours, sometimes 12. But I mean, but it is kind of a natural thing. Like we just like the way we feel in the morning when we stop eating earlier. We also have a member in our group who's getting great results doing something similar. So we can only recommend it from that perspective, but it has to be healthy. It's not so that you're going to look at it like, oh, I'm in deprivation and I need to eat, for 3 people. I'm going to have over 2,000 calories in my eating window. So we wanted to feel like it's part of your flow, that it's natural, and that it's not going to contribute to more of the behaviors that got you into trouble in the first place. And so we're here to help you heal your relationship with food, to help you feel re-inspired about the possibility of letting your body heal naturally from the inside out. And weight loss just happens to be a natural consequence.
So if you're watching this and you're like, I really want help losing weight. I want to learn how to intermittent fast. I want to learn how to do all these great things. I want to lose weight without loose skin, and I want accountability. If you're a woman watching this, we would love to have you in our women's group.
Yeah.
But only if you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to be ready. You have to be ready to look at yourself honestly and to be able to get to the root of why the weight got put on in the first place. Because when you stop stuffing your emotions, they're going to come up, and you're going to have to learn how to deal with them. So we're here for you for that. And we just love you so much, and we will see you all the time.
So if you guys have questions, comment them down below. We will answer them on our next live stream. Next Monday, we'll go live around the same time. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all the time.